Hello and welcome back to another episode of Hidden Video Game Details, the series that aims to show you things that you may not have known about your favourite games so that you can look really clever in front of your friends. In today's episode, we brush up on our French in Assetto Corsa, we magically turn the heads of enemies into cabbages in Chivalry 2, and we see who is scared of dynamite in Red Dead Redemption 2. As always, if you think you know of a detail that I'm yet to cover, then the best places to let me know are the comment section or on my social media accounts. The links, as always, are in the description. Oh, and leaving a like on any of my videos always makes me that little bit happier. Anyway, without further delay, let's get started. So let's begin with the excellent Modern Warfare 2 Remastered. Now, despite only remastering the campaign for some crazy reason, there were still tons of cool things to find in the Modern Warfare 2 Remaster. I mean, who could forget the awesome rock, paper, scissors inspect animation that could be seen when you didn't have a weapon.
You got 30 seconds, run!
Well, the Modern Warfare 2 Remastered detail that we're looking at today is a little less in your face. After firing a missile from the Predator drone, several numbers can be seen in the bottom right of the screen. Now, you may have assumed that these numbers are perhaps coordinates or some other military jargon. Well, if we take those numbers and enter them into a hexadecimal converter, it will translate into Raimi loves Sarah. This message was hidden in the game by Infinity Ward engineer Raimi Vincent as a declaration of his love to then fiancée Sarah Mantilla. It's crazy to think how many times I fired a Predator missile in Modern Warfare 2 and didn't think anything of these numbers. So in episode 41 of this series, we discovered that you could look inside of Jackie's head in Going Under, which sounds really creepy now that I say it out loud. Anyway, peering inside of Jackie's head would reveal that she has a brain, complete with a smiley face and a crown. Well, a little later in the game, the company that Jackie works for goes bust, which is a stressful time in anyone's life. So let's check in on Jackie's brain. So Jackie's brain is no longer happy and is now visibly worried at the prospect of being jobless. I mean, it was impressive that there was a brain in Jackie's head in the first place, but to have it accurately reflect Jackie's mood is even cooler. Up next is the hardcore racing simulator Assetto Corsa. Assetto Corsa is a racing sim that released in 2014 on PC and in 2016 on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. It's a hardcore racing sim through and through, but that doesn't mean that everything is entirely serious. Take the Mercedes-Benz MG GT3 for example. Inside of the car is a fire extinguisher, which isn't unusual in a high-performance race car. What is unusual is the sign on the extinguisher, which says, "Failure to follow manufacturer's instructions will render this world lost forever to darkness." It's not just the fire extinguishers that carry a funny hidden message in Assetto Corsa. On the porta potties that can be found on the various tracks is the name Oui Oui, which is of course the French word for yes, but also what some people say when they go for a wee. Now I'm sure there's loads more to find in these games, so if any Assetto Corsa experts are watching, bless me with your knowledge. So in the last episode of this series, we discovered some pretty cool details from Chivalry 2, including the option to get drunk and yell obscenities.
Shut your gob! It smells worse than a cadaver's ass.
But it turns out that if you're holding a chicken and then bring up the dialogue wheel, this will happen. So your regular phrases are replaced with chicken sounds, which is hilarious. The next Chivalry 2 detail can actually be found in the settings menu. So we've already established that Chivalry 2 is a very gory game. And for the more squeamish among you, there is an option in the settings menu that will allow you to turn off gore completely. The thing is, one of the most satisfying things to do in Chivalry 2 is to behead someone, and turning gore off would obviously make that impossible. Well, it seems that the developers of Chivalry realised this, as if you behead someone with the gore turned off, this will happen. So So the heads of fallen enemies will become cabbages. It's a pretty funny workaround. So this next detail won't be particularly new to those who have played the Metal Gear Solid games before, but it doesn't make it any less impressive. During the tanker sequence of Metal Gear Solid 2, your path will eventually be blocked by lasers that are connected to C4. Now, at this early point in the game, you may be wondering, how do you exactly see these lasers? You aren't equipped with thermal goggles, so they're out of the question. Well, it turns out that you don't need high-tech gadgets to see the lasers. If you equip Snake's trusty cigarettes, the lasers will become visible due to the smoke, allowing you to pass. That's not all though. The more resourceful among you may also want to consider shooting the nearby fire extinguisher, which in turn will also reveal the lasers. It's at this time that I should remind you that this game released in 2001, and this level of detail isn't present in most games that are released today. So it's been a year since The Last of Us Part 2 released, and if I'm honest, I'm kinda surprised that new details are still being found. Today's detail can actually be found at the very beginning of the game. After being rescued by Joel and Tommy, Abby follows them as they come up with a plan to escape the infected. Well, here is what Joel says to Abby if she has her gun concealed.
We can make a break for the lodge.
Yeah, I ain't got a better idea. Hey, you got a gun?
Yeah.
Well, I hope you're a good shot. Keep up with us.
And here is what he says if Abby's gun is visible.
We can make a break for the lodge.
Yeah, I ain't got a better idea. You good with that gun?
Yeah.
Good. We gotta move. Keep up with us.
It's incredibly cool that Naughty Dog thought to record different lines of dialogue to reflect the visibility of Abby's gun. Say what you want about Naughty Dog and The Last of Us Part 2, but there is no denying it's one hell of a detailed game. So the final detail for today's video is once again provided by Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, if I was impressed by The Last of Us 2 still providing us with new details a year later, then you can imagine how impressed I am with Red Dead Redemption 2, which is still giving us new details almost 3 years after launch. The Red Dead detail for today's video is a bit of a sadistic one, but it's also really, really cool. If you hogtie someone and leave them on the ground, they will struggle and try to break free. Well, if you happen to light a stick of dynamite next to them, their struggle will be a little more urgent.
All right then. What in the name of... Oh, God! Oh, damn! Get away!
So the poor NPC really starts to panic and tries in vain to escape the blast. Again, this is why Rockstar are the masters of video game details. So that's it. If you enjoyed this video, then leaving a like is really appreciated. Remember, if you are a fan of Easter eggs, secrets, and tiny details in games, then perhaps consider subscribing, as that's what this channel is all about. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.